Elizabeth, you were sharing about being of service through the courses that you were running by meeting the needs of the people that were coming to those courses. And you ran the Institute for the Study of Man based upon Théun's work. In that context, can you share a bit more about what the purpose of the Institute of Study of Man was all about?
Well, we'd started in the beginning with the two courses that I knew. And we were still running under the umbrella really of Christopher's organisation from Johannesburg. And then by the beginning of 96, when Christopher decided to stay in Johannesburg, we still kept the name of his organisation for a while. But then I think by about the middle of the year, it became quite clear that probably to put it in Théun's words, I was beginning to make this my own experience really.
Yes.
And out of that, I needed to create a new, in fact not a separate, but a new identity. And out of that was born the Institute for the Study of Man. Back in the 90s, that caused a little bit of consternation amongst the females, particularly the feminists.
Right.
That I should only be having man, and why wasn't it woman, and things like that. So I had to frequently, just share with them why we were talking about human.
Yes.
But it wasn't really an obstacle. It was something that came up fairly frequently. But I also don't believe that people are there anymore. I don't think women are there anymore. So, yeah, I'm still quite comfortable with the name Institute for the Study of Man. It means a lot to me because the purpose of it was really to be a support, to be a service to people who were wanting to grow in their own lives and to be, I suppose, to bring whatever they were learning from us to the people that were around them. So it was very much helping people to evolve their own awareness, I suppose one would actually say, and providing a means for us to look at our behaviour.
Right.
Because it's the behaviour where we have the habits of a lifetime, and that's really what gets us stuck. So that was very much the purpose of it, was a centre of higher education, if you like. We worked with teenagers from puberty. There was a while when we had younger children than that, but it actually felt right that they should actually just be having their own life experience up until puberty, rather than to possibly be interfering in any way whatsoever. But certainly by puberty, we started working with teenagers, helping them to get the guidance to go through that period of their lives. We had a parenting course by then as well, so we could actually work with parents at the same time. And so very much a place where people could come and get practical tools to be able to lead their daily lives. Very much the focus was on, what is your daily life like? Are you getting the results that you want to? And if not, here are the tools to help you to actually, to improve it.
And would the participants find it to be a life-changing experience? I mean, did it have an impact for them, the courses?
Very much so, but not in the way that I'd actually had my wake-up call, in a sense, which was with shock tactics.
Right.
And as I say, that was obviously appropriate for me, but it wasn't the approach that I wanted to take with people, because I really did start to see how sensitive people were that were coming forward. In some cases, I was getting 14-year-olds, 17-year-olds, who had already in many ways stepped out of the circle of their peers.
Yes.
Because everything we did was to dismantle social conditioning, because that's where we feel so trapped. And I think just that in itself, to answer your question, is what would be life-changing for people.
Right.
To realize that wherever they'd got to in their lives wasn't there to make them feel bad in any way whatsoever, but just to recognize that all of us are part of the same society, and therefore we've all been subjected to the same social conditioning. But not only were we saying, okay, now dismantle your social conditioning, we were giving them the tools to do that.
Right.
And of course, that has to be life-changing. Because if you've been living your life with Big Brother running it, and Big Brother can be anything from a boss to a lawyer to a house inspector to anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anybody who wants to sort of somehow have power over you in some way or another, that's what I mean, Big Brother, not just governments or whatever. Once you actually start to realize that that's what you're doing, you're just giving your power away all the time,
mm-hmm.
and you start to do something about that, it has to change your life.
Yes.
And not in your own life, it actually ripples into everybody around you as well.
Yes. And what were the range of courses that you were actually providing there?
As I said a little bit earlier on, we started to become more sensitive to the needs of people rather than giving a smorgasbord of this is what we've got and choose what we've got. We were able to do that very rapidly, in actual fact. We started at the beginning of 1996 with the two courses that I done, which we then revamped. And within a year, we had 8 courses and 2 teenage camps. And that was very much based on what people were calling for. So we had a course for parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's really a fascinating course because there would be people who would come along on that course who are thinking of having children,
mm-hmm.
but they don't really know what children are. They've got sort of some vague idea because they've been children themselves, but also knowing that it's a minimum of 20 years to a life commitment to have children. It's a huge responsibility to people who already had children. And then what happened very quickly was that anybody and everybody used to come and do that course,
mm-hmm.
because they realized that we were taking people through the different stages of childhood and the different challenges with each stage.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody had actually been a child, they wanted to know now, okay, well, how did I get to where I am now? If I go back and actually work through these stages, I don't have to be a parent,
yes.
and I don't have to be a would-be parent,
yes.
but I've been a child myself and I want to know how that works.
Yes.
They would come and join as well. Then the married people and the couples and anybody in a committed relationship wanted the rules and the tools to be able to handle a committed relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd start off with a relationships course which had the general principles for any relationship.
Yes.
And from there you could go on to the relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's very much all about commitment to yourself.
Yes.
Because if the relationship with yourself isn't working, nothing's going to work. So then we go a bit deep into the relationship with self. Then if you're a spouse or somebody in a committed relationship, or even wanting to go into one and wanting to know up front, what am I letting myself in for?
Mm-hmm.
Then we would have the course for permanent committed relationships.
Okay.
Then there was the parenting course. And then we did the two courses that are very much to do with self. And that was the Threshold to Excellence. And that's followed up with a very, very experiential course,
mm-hmm.
which is called Frontiers of the Self.
Uh-huh.
And that is showing you how we don't actually ever see our own potential. We can see everybody else's,
uh-huh.
but we can't see our own. And those 2 courses are very much, they're designed to help you to start unfolding that potential and to get glimpses of what you can actually aim towards.
Mm-hmm.
Then what we found out of all that, as people started to use the tools and what have you, what started to be called forth more and more and more and more from the participants was the need for a male course specifically,
uh-huh.
and a female course specifically.